Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. We're about to dive into a high-energy and sometimes tense exchange that takes place within the U.S. Senate. You'll witness a debate that highlights key constitutional concerns, political strategies, and heated discussions about the future of legislative actions. The speakers, including Senator Kennedy, engage in an important dialogue where sharp questioning, tough rebuttals, and even humor come into play. This debate tackles critical issues from both sides of the aisle, touching on everything from the role of the filibuster to the balance between supporting Israel and addressing tax policies. Stay tuned as we unravel the depth of these discussions and see how these complex issues are handled by experienced lawmakers.
Short of getting rid of the filibuster, this goes to the heart of the United States Senate. I happen to think, and I think my colleagues agree with me, that maybe talking about it for a few days might, before we take the Constitution and turn it upside down, just might be a wise thing to do.
Well, and
I can't tell you that every Republican is going to vote for this. I can't tell you that.
And nor do
you know as well as I do that we have some free-range chickens, and they wander off, and sometimes we can't catch them.
They're healthy though,
and they have the right to be free-range chickens. I'm just telling you, all these questions that are being asked, you're falling into Senator Schumer's trap, because he's going to try to muddy up this water to make it look deep. There's nothing complicated about this. You either believe in the Constitution or you don't.
I will say there was strong consensus.
We now turn to Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses today.
Wait, listen.
Professor Sarin, you're a professor at Yale Law School?
I am.
Okay. And I see you've been pretty active on Twitter. I'm looking at one of your tweets from a few months ago, October 30th, 2023. I'd like to read it to you. The House Republican stance is, I kid you not, support for Israel as long as we make it easier for people to cheat on their taxes, end quote. Did you tweet that?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. How many Republican congressmen or women did you talk to before you made that statement?
I was reacting to the fact that, and we've talked about it actually.
Yes,
so
ma'am,
far
but
in this.
first, if you could, how many Republican congresswomen or congressmen did you talk to?
I didn't talk to them. I actually was just reacting to the legislation that was proposed.
You didn't
passed.
you didn't talk to any of them?
No, sir.
Before you said that every single one of them supports Israel only if it is made easier for people to cheat on their taxes?
I actually don't think that every single one of them believed
But
that.
that's what you said.
But I do think that the legislation passed by the House reflects a statement of purpose that in order to support Israel, it's
but
important
I'm looking at what you said.
allow
what your
taxpayers to be able to cheat on their taxes.
You said that every single House Republican, none of whom you talked to, would only support Israel if it was made easier for Americans to cheat on their taxes. Now, you said that, and you didn't talk to any of them.
Senator Kennedy,
Didn't you?
I am struck by, and perhaps this is something on which we agree, that it is incredibly important to support Israel. It is also incredibly important to make sure that taxpayers at the top of the distribution
we agree on
pay their
Israel,
fair
but I
share.
just can't believe you would say this about members of Congress. It's pretty pejorative, vicious. Let me finish. Without talking to them. I mean, would it be possible for somebody to support a reduction to the IRS budget because they simply believe the federal government ought to have a balanced budget? Would that be a fair position?
That would
Would that be a principled position?
except that that actually doesn't work with respect to defunding
But would it be a
the IRS.
principled position?
It wouldn't be an accurate position because
Okay.
defunding
But you don't
the
know because you
IRS
didn't talk to anybody, did you?
Well,
You just said it.
Defunding the IRS, the CBO agrees, everyone who's testifying today agrees that that is going to add to deficits, not reduce
Could
them.
it be that a House Republican wanted to reduce the IRS's budget because they think that the IRS is a model of inefficiency and shouldn't be rewarded with more money?
Well,
Could that have been a possibility, a motivation for the way they
Senator
voted?
Kennedy, I so appreciate that question because the reality,
Could that have been
that the
a
reason-
motivation for the way they voted?
and it relates very closely to what Senator
Could
King
that have
said,
been a motivation for the way they
reason
voted?
that you've seen an inefficient
Could that have
IRS,
been a motivation
If you allow
for the
the
way they
witness to
voted?
answer, you might get your answer, Senator
it
Kennedy.
frankly couldn't have been.
It
because
could or couldn't?
It could not have been.
How do you know you didn't talk to him?
Because the reason why you've seen
You
the
just
IRS
made this statement that
hasn't been
every Republican in the House supports Israel only if it has been made easier for people to cheat on their taxes. Could it be that maybe a House member thought that, well, the more money we spend, the more deficits we have, and the more deficits we have, the more pressure is put on interest rates, and the higher interest rates go, the more it hurts the poor. Could that have been
Senator
the position
Kennedy,
of one of the House Republicans?
Senator Kennedy,
Could it have been theoretically?
couldn't have been because
Could it
everyone
couldn't have
agrees.
been?
It frankly couldn't.
How do you know you didn't talk to him?
Well, I know that everyone agrees, including witnesses across the aisle, including CBO, including every single tax expert that has contemplated this question, that defunding the IRS makes deficits worse, not better. And so this is a deficit
I just find it,
measure.
Professor, appalling that you would make a statement like this, a vicious statement like this, without talking to a single person about whom you made this statement. And I'm going to remind you, you know, you can only be young once, but you can always be immature. And you ought to think about that.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Let me just say that I think that the treatment of witnesses is beginning to degrade a bit here. And I'm going to strike some commentary if it continues down this road. I think personal insults to witnesses are not appropriate, and I will not be tolerant of that in this committee.
Well, could I respond, Mr. Chairman? You're going to
Fire away. I think you just called a
You're
Yale
going
Law
to do
School
what you got to
professor
do, but
immature.
I'm going to continue to use my time. You bring witnesses as you're entitled to, and some of them are very good. Some of them have the credibility of Michael Avenatti, and I'm going to use my time when I think it's appropriate to
And I'm
test.
going to use my authority as chairman
to test
as I think
credibility,
it is appropriate
witnesses'
as well,
credibility.
in
So
order
you
to
do
keep
what you
order
got to do, and I'm going to do what I got to do.
Good behavior in
But
a
if that
Senate
is meant
committee.
to bully me, you're talking
No
to
attempt
the
to
wrong
bully
guy.
you. No attempt to bully you, none at all. It's to keep the witness and the committee free of bullying.
I'm entitled to test their credibility, and I think